A huge part of a PT or residency is learning. Okay. And I'll tell you what, you don't need a residency to learn. There's actually way too much stuff out there to learn. Okay. This one is easy. The hard part is that you have to make sure that your learning is targeted, right? And also regimented. So I think the biggest piece of advice I can give to you is to devote time towards learning. And I think the best way, at least that I've learned how to do it, and then what I recommend to other folks, is to put this time into your schedule. Okay. And for me, I'm a nutcase. Okay. So take that with a grain of salt. You don't have to work as hard as I did. I'm just a maniac. Okay. I devoted a lot of time and effort to this. So I put somewhere between 1 and 3 hours per day, every single day. And even on the weekends, right? A lot of weekends I didn't, right? But for the most part, even on weekends, I devoted time towards learning, right? And I put it in my schedule. So every morning before work, I would wake up, get on the computer, turn it on, and do some sort of learning. So make sure you set aside some time in your schedule to do some learning. Action steps. Create a learning schedule that works for you and your needs. Okay. Maybe that's 3 days a week. Maybe it's every single day like me. Maybe it's just 30 minutes. Maybe you have a couple hours. Maybe you have a long commute. So you're doing a lot of your learning with audiobooks, right? That type of thing. Just make sure you have some sort of schedule for learning. Otherwise, it's probably not going to get done. Step 2, make it specific to what you want to learn about. Okay. You don't have to learn about TMJ and concussion and total shoulder replacements if you don't want to. Okay. Some physical therapy residencies are going to be teaching you things that you don't necessarily find value in, right? Or are working with the patient population you eventually desire to work with, right? You don't have to do that. You can choose to learn exactly what you want to learn about to serve your patient population best. Okay. So that's why I really like this idea of specificity. It's going to make you very good at working with the folks that you want to work with. Okay. First and foremost, what I did was I bought courses, online courses, right? And I believe very strongly in doing this. Okay. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but there are people out there that have probably already done what you want to do. Okay. And they have spent years and years and years learning how to do that. They've made a lot of mistakes along the way. And they do this so that you can avoid those mistakes and accelerate your career faster than what they did. Okay. So in my mind, it's ridiculous to think that you can figure this out all on your own. And it's stupid not to find the folks that are in the shoes you want to be and learn from them. Okay. So if they have courses, right, either online or in person, then you should pay for them and go learn from them. So over the course of time, you can be where they are. Okay. And for me, I initially did a lot of education in strength and conditioning. This was an area I was already pretty familiar with because I worked in strength conditioning for a few years before I went to PT school. But it is a huge gap, right, in terms of knowledge for most PTs once they graduate. And for me, I love learning about it, and it definitely made me a better clinician. So what did I learn about? A few of the texts that I read were Science and Practice of Strength Conditioning by Zet Siorsky. I read a lot of Tudor Bompa's original work, which is all based around programming. I just bought a whole bunch of books that were kind of highly regarded as the best in terms of what they're trying to teach us. So programming, strength and conditioning, and just learned, right? I also did a lot of con ed from guys like Mike Boyle and Eric Cressy. So at the time, there weren't a lot of courses that were specific to CrossFit, right? Powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting. Now there are, right? So you don't have to go down this pathway. But I did a lot of learning from folks that were doing what I want to do, but in a different industry, right? So that's Mike Boyle. That's Eric Cressy. Obviously, Cressy is more in baseball, and Boyle is more in sports performance. I wanted to work in sports, but it was more CrossFit, powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, right? So I learned a bunch from those folks, but now I would probably find courses, if you can, that are more specific to what you want to learn about, okay? I also took a bunch of courses early on from James Fitzgerald. His company is called OPEX. So there's a lot of individuals now that are responsible for running that. They had some great courses at the time for CrossFit coaches that wanted to apply strength and conditioning principles. So I really dove into that. Okay. So what are your action steps next for your own education? I want you to try to create a curriculum that works for you and your needs, right? So we know your population, right? What do you need to learn more about so you can be an expert? Okay. Maybe for you, you want to be involved in CrossFit, but you're already very good with programming. You don't need to go down that route. Maybe you need to learn more about exercise technique. You need to find some courses that are going to help you learn how to do the clean, right? The snatch or common gymnastics movements or running technique. whatever it is that helps fulfill that niche for you. So here's what I want you to do next, guys. If you enjoyed this video so far, I have an entire course. It's free. It's called the Fitness Pain Free Mini Course. And we go over 3 lessons going to help you take a lot of this information that we went over so far and put it into practice. The first lecture is called Why We Need a Better System. So first and foremost, the way we treat fitness individuals, all right, athletic people in the gym from a physical therapy perspective is pretty much broke, okay? So we need a better system to serve the folks that are in the gym that get hurt, they want to get back to training, all right? Lecture number 2 is called 7 Reasons Why People Get Hurt in the Gym. And essentially, we have to know the reasons why people get hurt in the gym so we can keep them safe in the future, right? And when they get hurt, we have to know why and how to get them back to training in the gym. Okay, so a thorough understanding of this is very, very important. I actually have a really cool infographic that goes along with this lecture that you get for free as well. And lastly, we go over a case study of how to get someone out of pain and back to training. So these principles are all phenomenal, but we don't actually put it together and you don't understand how to create a program to get people back in the gym and keep them safe for the long term, then we lose, right? So I'll put a link in the show notes for this. It's a Fitness Pain Free Mini Course. Definitely check this out.